Hi everyone, welcome to another video in Excel tutorials. Today we'll be looking at pivot tables. So we have our data sets which are generated using ChatGPT, but it tells a real world data set has the date, the salesperson, the region, the product, the unit sold, the unit price, and total sales. And I think it has 49 rows. What we do first is when we get this data to analyze it with pivot table, we go to insert, click on pivot table, and it gives us this. So what Excel automatically most times do see your data and select the range for you, because on this table range, that's where you put in the range of the data set. You can see this is a sheet one. I can name this, we can close this first and name this so we understand sales data. Then, yep. So we go back to pivot table. You see now it shows us the sheet sales data A1 to G49, which we have. See the green. Then we can actually decide to create this pivot table in a new worksheet or in an existing worksheet. For the sake of clarity, I think let's select a new worksheet. When select a new worksheet, it will automatically create a new worksheet when we click OK. So you can see now it created a sheet 2. We can name this sheet pivot sheet so we don't get to confuse ourselves. So once it creates that, it gives you a space to do your pivoting here. Then you can, when you go to the right hand side, you can see all the column headers. So you have the date, the salesperson, the region, the product, the unit sold, the unit price, and total sales. To analyze this data, let's say we have some KPIs that we need to check, and pivot table is going to help us get that very easy. For example, if you want to know our total sales by salesperson, we have a total sales here, we have a salespersons here. Instead of to go to the data to get to start doing the sum of all these and looking at the salesperson to know their total sales, you can go on a pivot, drag the salesperson to rows, and see automatically we have 3 salespersons here. Then also we want to know the total sales by salesperson. So our total sales is a value, So we take it to values. What this gives us is the breakdown of the total sales by each salesperson. As easy as that. That's how simple pivot tables can make you analyze data without writing formulas or doing a lot of analysis. Just straightforward. If you know where to drag and drop, you get it. So this is our total sales by salesperson, and easy. You can do this in 1 minute and show it to your manager or to any stakeholder that needs to see it. Then secondly, we can get another KPI. Let's say total units sold by product. Also, you can format this. Let's say you can right click on it and sort it largest to smallest to know who is the highest person. Just right click and do that. You can also format this as a currency. If we want to, and we get it in pounds because my Excel is in pounds. And you get your data, you can copy it to anywhere. You can copy this maybe to a new worksheet, go down and paste it anywhere. You can paste it as values, do Control V to paste as pivot. Let's do Control Z. You can right click and paste as values without the pivots. Very simple. This can be your table. You can rename it and share it with your boss or anybody. So let's go back to our pivot sheet. We've gotten our total sales by salesperson. We can do second, this for beginner series. Let's just do a quick 10 KPIs. Second one would be total units sold by product. Total units sold by product. You can copy this to create another pivot. Copy this, paste here. Then we can click on select what we've put in before. We need our total units sold by product. So the product which is the category would always be on the rows. Take the product to the rows. Then we know what we need to get is the total units sold. Total units sold, take it to the values because it's a value. So you can see now, and if we sort this from largest to smallest, you can see that rice was the highest unit sold. You can see each of them. Rice sold 118, spaghetti sold 108, beans sold 78. All and yeah, let's just create another one. Let's say we copy this and we paste it here, remove the fields and have a blank pivot. Yeah, so we can get our total sales by region and see our total sales, put our total sales in values, then break it down by region. So the breakdown are either the columns or the rows. The values are the values are for the values, like the numbers for calculations, maybe sum, average, mean, and so on. So we can have our total sales, but we have to break it down by region. So we put our region in either our rows and put it in our rows to see how it looks like. You can break it down by rows now. If you do a sort largest to smallest, you can see. We can decide to break it if you, depending on how we want our data to be presented, we can put the region in columns. It still gives us a breakdown to north, west, south, and east. So, but for now, let's put it in rows here. Yep. So that's our total sales by region. Gotten that. And another thing we can do is we want to know the number of transactions a salesperson, how much each salesperson contributes, like, and copy this, paste it here. Okay, then we remove the total sales in the region. What do we want to know? We want to know our number of transactions per salesperson. Drag our salesperson to values. That's the count of salesperson. Our salesperson to rows. This counts the number of transactions per salesperson already. So John sold 16, Mary sold 16, Sam sold 16. These are the number of transactions for each salesperson. So we use the count here. So you can see if we go to count of sales, if you go down here, click on count of salesperson, then we go to value field settings. See now, it's because it's counting how many times they appeared. That's why it selected counts. That's why I selected counts. If you go back to this other pivot we created, we can change this from sum to count how many. For example, if you go to value field settings, let's see what it does. Count. You see, east appeared 12 times, north appeared 12 times, south appeared 12 times. Go back to our data set. Let's say we put a filter here. If we put a filter here, just click your Control, Shift, and L. It automatically brings this filter. So, okay, let's go to our salesperson and sort from A to Z. So if you count how many times Sam appeared, you can see, select it. And when you select Sam alone, you can see, you can go down here, you see count 16. So you can see Sam appeared 16 times. That's why it's showing on our pivot table down here. John 16, Mary 16, Sam 16. So they had 16 transactions. So this is number of transactions, number of transactions per salesperson. So we can practically see that we did that by counting each salesperson's transaction. But that's how we did. So let's go back and change this. This was total sales. This is, go to value field setting. This was sum. Just wanted to know the sum of total sales. Okay. So this is number of transactions per salesperson. You can see we had 48 transactions. If you go to our sales data and we click here, you're going to see count 49 because it counted the header too. So that's why we have 49. But already, basically, we know there are 48 transactions in this data set. So that's why you can see total 48. Each person did 16. If we go to this sales data and say, let's change one of these, Mary, let's change Mary to Sam, and click enter. Go back to our pivot sheet, come down to click on the pivot, go to pivot analyze, then come here and click refresh. If you refresh it, you see that Sam now has gotten 17 because we change in the main data set. We've refreshed the pivot tables. So we see it puts that one we included for Sam now has appeared here. Yep. Undo. And let's go back to where we were. So now we've seen how many transactions each person made. The next thing we're going to do is average unit price per product, because we can actually get averages too when we are analyzing data in pivot tables. So we can copy this. Let's use this one, and you can copy anyone actually, paste it here. So we remove our total sales and our region. What do we need to do now is average unit price per product. Average unit price per product. So to get our average unit price per product, click inside the pivot table, put our unit price in our values. You're not looking for the sum, we're looking for the average. So we click on this, go to our value field settings, then instead of sum, we select average. Then we click OK. Once you click OK, to remove this, you can actually use this and remove the so much decimal point. Let's just leave it at 1 decimal point. And we need to break this down by product, because we need to know the average unit price per product. Now take product, to break down, you put it in rows. You can see how much each product contributes in average price for each product. Now we can sort this from largest to smallest. See that average price for oil is 1,500. For beans is 700. For rice. So that's what we have as an average price per product. And those are just the first simple basics you can do by slicing your data anyhow you want it, anything you want it. These are the rows. You can put them in here and you get what you want. So to step a bit higher, we can look at the sales by region and product. You're just a little bit intermediate. Let's do it. So for here, we can copy this, paste it here. What we need to find is the sales by region and product. How do we get our sales by region and product? First of all, let's remove these for values we have here. So we have a clean pivot. We need to know the sales by region and product. So what we do is we take our region to rows, put our region in rows. Now we have our north, south, east, and west. Values, this is our sales in values. We have value, we have total sales by region, but we need to know by the product. So what we can do now, we can take our product and put it in columns. What that does is that it gives us now our total sales, which is here, and it breaks it down by product. That's how we have the sales by region and product. So one can actually see when in the East region, which product sold higher, which product sold lower. In the North product region, the same thing. In the South region, the same thing. In the West region, the same thing. So this gives us an analysis to understand how our product did in each region. That's pretty easy and simple. It's just understanding how to move your numbers and structure it. Also, we would have taken this region product and still put it in region. Then with this, we can collapse each of them. Once you collapse it, you get the total. Still, you can expand it to see what it entails, what it contains. Yeah, you can sort this from largest to lowest. Still get to know, okay, in our East, we had beans sell the highest, rice, then spaghetti and oil. You can check that for all the regions too. So you can present it in this way, or you can actually copy this, C, V, then you can actually make this. I think it's going to, okay. So this and this actually tell the same thing. So we have our East, beans, rice, spaghetti, oil. We have our East here. You can see them too. This is represented when you put the product in columns, and this is represented when you put the products in the same row. All of them tell exactly the same thing. They say none is right, none is correct. It depends on how you want to present your data to your stakeholders. So we can expand all of them. Pivot table makes it easy to break down, analyze, and expand your data. So the next thing we're going to look at is the top selling products per salesperson. How do we find the top selling products by salesperson? So we can copy this and paste it here, go down a bit. So we remove the total sales and the region. And now we want to know, we have a total sales, top selling product, sorry, top selling product by salesperson person. Okay, so we click on our pivot. What to do? We drag the salespersons to the rows. Then under it, we put our product. Because yeah, we can have these are the product now by salesperson. Then we put our values, check our total sales to our values. So we have each salesperson now, we know how they sold their top products. Then we sort each salesperson, sort here by largest to smallest. So once we sort it now, we can know that each salesperson, the product they sold highest is at the top. You can see for John now, we see 2,700 was the highest product he sold, which is oil. For Mary now, the highest product she sold was beans. For Sam now, the highest product he sold was oil. So this just breaks it down very easy without going to write formulas in your data. That's what pivot table does. The next one is monthly sales trend. Let's do a monthly sales trend. If we copy this and we paste it here, yeah, it gives us a pivot. Remove this to get a blank pivot space. Then we do a monthly sales trend. Monthly sales trend. Monthly sales trend where these are data sets. If you look at the data sets, it's only in January, and some of them are 01. It's only January, so it's only going to show January. But we can just use that to check it out. We put our date in our rows, then put our total sales in our values. This shows the total sales per day because we have only January data. Now we can click on the date part, right click it, and you will see group. You see group. For example, if this data had other months, once you group it, it will ask you what you want to group it by. Already, Excel has auto found the starting date and the end date, and you can group it in months. So if you want to group your months, you click OK. Already, it knows it's January. So it takes you to January. It shows you, okay, in January, this was it. Let's say, for example, let's go back to our data set and change some figures. Let's say we change here to 2, which is February, change here to 3, which is March, change here to 4, which is April. Then we go back to our pivot sheet and we click on Pivot Analyze and refresh our data set. Automatically, see what it does? It shows that January breaks it down, February, which is just 2,500. If you go to our data set, you can see for February, they sold only rice, which total sales of 2,500. That's why it's showing here too. February 2,500. For March, it's only 3,200. So we can go back to our data set to see that in March we changed John from the east into March, and we had 400 and 3,200. So that's its total because you have only one data set from there, one information from there. So if we go to your we see it's 3,200. In April, we had 4,500. So if you go to our data sales data set, you can see in April we changed John selling oil in the south one for it's 4,500. So the same thing you see here. So that's what happened. If the data set was in different months or even years, you can actually group it in your pivots to anything you want by doing grouping. Yeah, so let's go back and keep our data set the way it was. I think it's done. Okay. Undo, undo, undo. Okay. So that's for the sales trend monthly. Actually, keep it at that. Then the next thing we're going to do is total sales by product and salesperson. Let's get this here. I need to break down a lot of KPIs for you so that anyone you come across, you can know how to maneuver, you can know how to use it. So for now, we take this out, take the date out. We have a blank pivot sheet. Let's Okay, so select our pivots, empty pivot. What we need to get now is total sales by product and salesperson. So here we select here. What we do is take our product to rows, We have our product, then we have our salesperson in our column, Then we have our total sales in our value, So now we can actually know total sales by product and salesperson. Total sales by product and salesperson. So this is beans. For beans, John sold this, Mary sold this, Sam sold this. For oil, John sold this. Mary. So you can know each product, how each salesperson did. For it's different from this one. For this one, we know each salesperson which was the highest product, but in down here we know each product how much each salesperson sold. I think it's pretty much clear. There are two different, so don't confuse these two. There are two different KPIs. So the next one, we want to know the units sold by region. Come here, copy this, and paste here, and remove this. So we have a blank pivot. So what we want to look for here is units sold by region. So how many units were sold in each region? So we take the region, rows, then we take the units sold to values. Then what we need to do is we filter it by product. So how do we use filter in pivot table? We can take our products here, units sold by region, Let's add here so we don't get confused. So we know what we are doing. Filtered by product. Okay, filtered by product. So we need to add our filter. How do we add a filter? We take product to filters. It has added this filter on top here. You can select now. For now, it's showing all. You can select beans and click OK. It shows us only beans. Units sold for only beans. And select and choose oil. It shows us each unit sold in each region for only oil. You can select multiple items, maybe beans and oil, to see. And now it changes how many units were sold. So that's how filter works. You can filter, you can even add a filter by salesperson. Let's say, take this, add it here. So select beans, okay. Then you select the salesperson, John, okay. So this is how John sold beans in East and West. So it's John sold in the East 12 units of beans and 9 units of beans in the West. So that's how our filters work. Just add the filter here, but anything you want to filter out, you want to clear the filter, just come here and click on it or select all. You have all of it. All. Okay. So that's for our filters. And I think, okay, let's go back, step up to something a bit advanced. Yeah, not that advanced, but something a bit up. Okay, let's copy here and paste here. And let's remove this. We have clear visual. Then now we're looking for percentage contribution of each region. Percentage contribution of each region. Yeah, percentage contribution of each region. So what we can do here is click on our empty pivot. We select the rows to the region, the region to the rows, sorry, region to the rows. Yeah, so we want to know how many percent. Already we saw up there how the total sales by each region, but now I want to know the percentage contribution. Percentage contribution. So we can take the values, which is total sales. Yeah, from this total sales now, how many percentage came from each region? That's what we want to know. Right click here, you can sort it first, largest or smallest. You can click here, go to value field settings. Then after summarize, you see show value as. You click on show value as. First, it's always default on no calculation, but now I want to get the percentage of the total. So now we click here and select percentage of grand total. Percentage of grand total, click OK. Automatically, it shows the grand total is 100%, and it shows the contribution of each region in percentage to the total sales. So North contributed 27%, West contributed 17%. Can actually select here and remove. Yeah, just or maybe just make it a one figure so it rounds up. You can see North contributed 28%, West contributed 25%, South 25, and East 20. So you can know which region is doing much better in terms of percentage contribution to total sales. So that's just to show you a bit thing. Then I think we can also do, let's try this. Let's copy here. Try this one. Copy. Yeah. And paste it here. So we click here and here. Okay. So now let's take it a bit high. Take it, let's say take it down here so we can see clearly. Remove this and remove this. We have a clear pivot visual. Let's put our dates in rows and our total sales again in values. So we have your total sales by value. Okay, let's ungroup that date. It's still grouped. Let's ungroup it. Let's do it in days. So let's leave it in days. 1st January, 2nd January, 3rd January. Yeah, we can actually leave it in days and see. Then we can right click here, and show value as running total. Yeah, I will explain that. Running total is based on field dates. Okay, so now I'll explain what I just did for us. Okay, so let me explain what I just did here. What I just did here was that we want to know each day, our total sales is 246,000, but we want to know each day how much have we made. 1st of January, we sold 10,600, so our total sales was 10,600 that we have made in January. On 2nd January, we sold 12,600, and the total sales now, which is the running total, which is what I did, is this plus this. So on the 2nd of January, total sales we made was 22,900. So this running total calculates on each day how much have we made from the first day up to that date. If you add these three, let's say you add these first five, it should give us 58,000. This sum, if you go down here and look at sum of, give us 58,700, which is the running total. So what I just did was that, let's go back to the understand, remove field. Okay, what we just did was that in when I created this, I added total cells to each. Then I can add it again. Yeah, I can add it again. But this one, what I want is the running total. Running total means as the day comes, how much have we made in total? As on a particular day, how much have we made from the first day? So I can right click here, go to show value as, then you see running total. Running total. But my base field is date. What you can actually select in other things, but for now is date, since it's only date. So want to know our running total every day. Click OK. It changes to running total up to when we at the end, which our grand total is 246. You can see here, which is the same here. So that's another thing you might want to learn in your analysis journey. Running total by date. Okay. So I think that's the next one. Will soon be finishing up. Product with highest average or unit transaction. Let's use this for that. Gotten that already. So product with highest average units per transaction. So we click on here. We put our product in a row. Product in our rows. Then we put our units sold in our values. But now we're not looking for the sum of the units sold. We're looking for the average units sold. So we come here, click our value added settings, and click on average. Click OK. It shows us the average units sold per product. You can select here, take away this. So you can see that on average, units beans was sold 7 times, oil was sold 5 times, rice was 8 times, and spaghetti was 9 times. Yeah, so that's the average units. So you can actually know the highest by sorting it from largest. You know that spaghetti, on average, we sold spaghetti more, and sold rice second, and the rest. So our last would be our region slide, a region for product performance. Yeah, and take this, copy this, paste here. So do a region. We need to add a slicer for product performance. We have our products, we have our units sold, so we can add a slicer to this. Yeah, how do you add a slicer? You go to pivot analyze, Then we insert slicer. It will come out what we want to slice it by. So we want to slice it by region. By region. Let's select region, yeah, and see how it goes. So you can put it here. So now we have our total sales, right? And our average units sold, spaghetti, rice. We can check in the north. See, in the east, sorry, it changes. For rice 10, spaghetti 10. So we can if we can do this for, let's go back and do this for total sales. So you understand very much sum of units. So let me do for you. Let me do total sales. Okay, then we click on here, go to pivot analyze, insert a slicer. Okay, select by region. Okay, so we have a region here. Yeah, you can see if we clear it, we have our east. This is to clear what's on the slicer. So we have our products and the total sales. If we click on the east, it gives us the breakdown for east, which is the same thing that happened with that pivot. Okay, let's copy this, see, and put it beside here so we see what is happening when we slice. Okay, so if we select east, here, you see beans is 1960. If you go back here, you can check on the east, you can see beans is 19600, oil is 700, oil is 7500, rice is 50. So if we select north, it changes to north. This slicer slices this particular pivot table. You can see this is for the north now. Beans is 12,600. If you go to the north here, you can see that beans is 12,600, oil is 28.5, oil is 28.5. Same thing, let's sort this by largest to smallest. So if you select south, what it will give you here should be the same thing that to show here in south. If you select west, what it should slice it here should be the same thing that should be here. So that's how we use slicers in pivot tables. So the last thing I'm going to show you now before I end this so it doesn't become too long is how to create calculated field in pivot table. Let's say we want to add let's say we want to give a 5% bonus to each salesperson for the month of January. We can actually do that by using a calculated field. And copy this. Let's copy this and paste here. Okay, let's remove this. Add total sales in values and salesperson in rows. Yeah, pretty sure now you can see I just clicked and it goes straight to where it's supposed to be. I think because Excel understands what automatically does it because it understands my data already. So what we're going to do is for each salesperson, let's give them a 5% bonus. A 5% bonus, 5% bonus to each salesperson. By 5% bonus. So let's expand this because we're going to need it. So we need to add the bonus here for each salesperson. Somebody can actually do it's equals to this times less 0.05, which is 5%. Click enter and you have it. Then you drag it down, but this is not in your pivot table now. So it doesn't change if anything changes. It might change, but it's not actually the best approach. So the best approach will be we adding it as a calculated field. How do we do that? Click on here, go to pivot table analyze. You see field items and sets. Click on it. You see calculated field. Click on calculated field. It opens the calculated field. So we add our calculated field as bonus. As let's say that we understand 5% bonus. So we add our formula. What's our formula? You remove this zero. You need the total sales. Insert the field times 0.05. That's adding a 5% times the person's total sales to get the 5% bonus. Click on OK. So you can see automatically, yeah, automatically it gives 5%. This is not sum. Let's value field settings. Show value as no calculation. Okay, let's leave it on no calculation. So that's the 5%. Don't mind that it's showing sum. It's not actually sum. Yeah. It's showing that. So we can actually rename it to 5% bonus. This is 5% of this, 5% of this. So for each salesperson, you're giving them 5% bonus. That's how to add a calculated field in your pivot tables. Other things I would want to run through quickly before we end is, first of all, you can actually decide to remove this grand total if you don't want it. Just go to options, then click on totals and displays, and decide to remove the grand totals from rows and columns. Click OK, and it removes it. It doesn't show you grand totals and column. You can also decide to change the appearance of your pivot table by the design. Click it to another color as you want. Change it to different colors that you want. In design too, you can actually go to subtotals and do not show subtotals. Remove the subtotals. You can go to grand totals and on or off for rows, and depending, you can remove this grand total in the rows and off for rows and columns. You don't need to see the grand totals, just only your data set to present it better. And depending, so other things, these are the things you can actually do in pivot table analyze. It helps you to do anything you want. You can actually change the data source. You can change data source. Now you're using this data source. You can change, maybe you have a new data set that you want to change to. You can click on here, change this, select it, and click OK. It will change to that particular data source, and everything will refresh as wanted. That's another thing you can do. What other things there? Okay, and you can actually see recommended pivot tables. So most times Excel can show you a quick recommended. You can start from there, maybe to get an idea. Some of you need sold by region. Some of you need, these are some of the things that we've done. So Excel can actually recommend them for you. You can use it. It might be one of the things you need to analyze. And you just get it as a quick pivot table, straight up, without getting to do much. Also, I think we've covered the basic things that we need to cover in pivot analyze. And okay, to expand and make this disappear, you can uncheck the field list or make it show the buttons. Yeah, I can remove the buttons in the pivot tables. Actually, also remove the field headers, and you can actually play with this, and you get to understand how pivot tables works and how easy it is to use to analyze data. I'll stop here for now. I hope you get much. You can practice with this data set. I'll put it in my description. If you like this video and you need more, subscribe, like, and follow, and see you in my next video. Thank you.